And he messaged me back pretty fast. He's like, hey, I'm at work, but, once I get off work, let's hang out. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm heading to the airport back to LA at like 8 p.m. So it'll be kind of before then, like 5. He's like, cool, I'll see you at 5. And then he never showed up. He never even messaged me.
Nick, excuse me. We need to have a conversation.
Welcome dog moms and dads to our show where we discuss the everyday joys and challenges of pet parenting. I'm your host, Jen.
And I'm Ashley.
And this is the Dog Mom podcast presented by ZippyPaws.
All right, and we are back for what is hopefully a more uplifting episode after our last, I don't want to call it a tearjerker, but it was heavy for sure.
Definitely.
But what is more fun to talk about than dating? Oof. Am I right?
Dating stories. Cringe.
I mean, it's easy for you to say you're married.
Well, you're essentially married, so.
Hopefully, officially soon, but.
Oh, hint.
That's another story. I don't even think Nico listens.
I don't think my husband listens either, because when is he going to have the time to listen? He listens to my voice all day. I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to listen to me talk for another hour.
I actually told Nico that he should just hit play on all the different platforms so we get the recorded listens, but to keep it on silent because I don't need to hear my voice.
That's true. He needs to have headphones in if he's actually listening to the show. We should actually record their their reaction when they're listening to us. It'd be pretty funny. We should
maybe not this one though.
Yeah, we should get them two in a room and then have them listen to us and record their feedback.
Oh God, I can visually see that in my head and how that would play out.
Oh gosh.
So I think it is important though to talk about dating with dogs. It is a very different. It's a whole different animal, pun not intended. When you're trying to, to be single, to go out on dates, to find your life partner, and you also happen to have this wonderful attention craving four-legged fur baby.
Yeah, so when I was single, I broke up with my long-term ex when I was 24, and my dog, I had a senior dog. My dog JJ was 11 at the time, so he needed some extra attention and care. And, he wasn't as mobile as before. It wasn't like having a young dog where you can leave him at home for long periods of time or go on long walks or, be outside the home for a long period of time. He just wants to go home and sleep. He gets tired easily. He had a really big tumor on his side. So I really had to kind of take that into consideration when I was dating.
Yeah, and I had my dog Stella. She was a puppy when I was single and dating, and completely opposite ends of the spectrum. But yeah, still, it's hey mom, can you babysit my dog so I can go out on a date? There's only so many times that's gonna fly.
Yeah, I of course I didn't want to bother my parents with that, and I didn't really want to tell them I was dating. Growing up with Asian parents is like dating was kind of frowned upon until bam, all of a sudden they want you to have babies right away. So I didn't want to bother them, and also they lived 45 minutes away from me, so I couldn't really drop off my dog and then go on a date or something and then come back late at night to pick him up. So that was just definitely not in the cards for me.
But I mean, I guess on the flip side of that, trying to look at the positive, having your dog in tow is probably a good way to weed out the men that you did not want to be involved with, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's so easy to kind of say, oh, I don't like this guy just because of how they interact with your dog, and how they feel about dogs in general. If a guy is not a dog person, then If he's anti-dog, then that's a definite no. But if he's like, I'm not really into dogs, I might give him a chance. But like deep down, you know that's not gonna work.
Yeah, I don't like that. That puts you at about a 2 on the human level if you don't like dogs. If
Right?
you
Who
don't
doesn't
like
even
dogs.
like dogs? So I have this story of when I was single and I was dating, and I met this guy who I was really into for some reason. He
For
was
some
like,
reason.
for some reason, I think because he was cute and he worked in a cool industry, and I wanted to. He had a house, so
Oh.
I wanted to make it work. And we had a lot of fun, like chit chatting together. But he's like, I'm not really a dog person. I'm like,
Ciao.
stab to the heart, right? And then so one day he invited me to his house to watch a movie. It was like early evening, so I said, "Hey, I don't have anybody to watch my dog. Is it okay if I bring him?" And he's like, he was kind of reluctant, but he said okay because he knew how much my dog meant to me. And then I brought my dog over to his house, and then I'm like, okay, well, he needs to pee first, and then we can go watch the movie. So I let him out into the backyard, and my dog peed on his patio furniture cover. And he
He was
like,
trying to tell you
he
something.
flipped. And the guy flipped. He was like, well, I don't really have any irrigation out there. Like, how am I supposed to get rid of that? And I'm like, I don't
He had
know.
no running water anywhere in the general vicinity. He couldn't rinse it off.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll help you rinse it off. He's like, no, it's fine, it's fine. But like, he looked annoyed, right? So I'm like, well, this is not going well. I think this was like maybe second, maybe third or fourth date. And every time the guy would like try to like put his arm around me or anything, my dog would whine. So I
Oh,
was
I feel
like,
like that. Yeah. That's
that's
a
a
good sign.
sign. But I'm like, hey, calm down. Like, you're fine. You got your bed. I brought like his own bed, and I brought him like his own water bowls and all that stuff. So, I mean, I was prepared. But my dog did not like this guy. And then maybe like 20 minutes into the movie, the guy's like, hey, do you think you could put your dog like in your car?
Oh, excuse
Because
me.
he's like really bugging me. And of course, I was like a pushover, right? And I was like, I wanted to like to just make it work with this guy, right? I was young and stupid. So I was like, okay, fine, because my dog wanted to sleep anyway. So I was like, okay, just go in the car, crack the windows. It was dark by then, so it wasn't hot or anything. And then I was like watching the movie, and then like 10 minutes later, I was like, I just got up. I was like, okay, I'm leaving. And so I just like went to check on my dog. He was sleeping. He was fine. But I'm like, hey, so I'm not gonna finish the movie. I'm just gonna go. And that was it. And then the guy was like, why? Like, where are you going? Your dog's fine. He's like, he's fine in your car. I'm like, I know he's fine, but I just want to go. Like, I can't relax and watch the movie.
What a sucky person. I'm
Right?
sorry. If you're still listening or still lurking for whatever reason, he who must not be named, you're a sucky person. Just
Yeah.
know that.
He would like, I think he like texted me like once or twice after that. And I was like, ugh, I mean, you're really cute, but there's no way this is ever going to work out. Like, you're not a dog person. And I am. So.
That's crazy. I wonder if that has any effect in how he would be with children.
Right? Yeah.
Like if a dog peeing on your outside patio furniture cover is that upsetting to you, bachelor for life probably.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, next.
I don't think I ran into anybody that did not like Stella. I wasn't super active in the dating realm, and the people that I was dating absolutely loved her. I had really fun dates too because of her. I think the best non-committed date, I guess it never evolved into anything further. We stayed friends, but was someone who knew how much I liked Stella or how much I loved Stella and offered to go hiking with his dog too.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so much fun. I loved that he thought about it. He incorporated Stella. He was a really, really good guy. I fell into a stream because he didn't grab my hand and was soaking wet. So the date itself was not necessarily the best date that I've ever been on, but it was a lot of fun. He was a really good person. And I honestly, I didn't have really any issues other than leaving her at home. And I rarely did that. I feel like if there was somebody that wasn't going to allow her into their lives, then I wasn't going to be a part of that. It just wasn't going to work.
Yeah. I mean, I look back on what happened to me and I think, I was just so stupid. Just naive, right? Like thinking that it's okay that I would actually end up with somebody who didn't. It was okay if they didn't like dogs, but now that you've been through these kind of situations, that yourself, right? And that's just never going to happen. So
yeah, and I mean it's that classic mentality of, oh, they may not like dogs, but they'll love my dog.
Yeah.
Or eventually they'll learn to love dogs.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, that's usually not the case.
It's just so hard making somebody change, and like, why would you make somebody change, right? Like, it's much better to find someone who loves the same things as you do and want the same things.
Yes. And dogs are a very large commitment.
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever had the experience of staying with a guy for too long because you like their dog?
I haven't, actually.
Why do you not have these experiences that I feel like I have?
I told you I didn't date that much, and hold on. Let me mentally go back and check. There was nobody that had a dog that I was in a serious relationship with. I had an ex at one point who we bought a puppy together. The puppy was very much ours. He stayed at my ex's apartment because my mom's home didn't have a fence, which wasn't an issue when I had Stella, but whatever. And the puppy, it was a chocolate lab puppy. He was super cute. And the puppy barked, cried because my ex wasn't home a lot. He was a paramedic. And one day my ex decided, hey, we need to think about potentially rehoming him, which is something I did not want to do. And before we could have the actual conversation about it, he got rid of the puppy. What? And I went over there. I still have pictures of this dog. I have to show him to you. We named him Ami. He was a chocolate lab puppy with the brightest green eyes I've ever seen. He was so cute. So cute. And it just drives me crazy that looking back that I didn't have the foresight to be like, you know what? I'm just going to go over to the apartment and take the dog so that this doesn't happen. And I will gift him to my mom and we will make the no fence situation work. Didn't do that and stayed with the guy for probably 6-7 months after that. So I stayed too long with someone who was a douchebag to dogs. But I didn't stay because he had awesome dogs. So I guess that makes me worse, honestly. I didn't have a good excuse.
Speaking of chocolate labs, because I have a chocolate lab with story with this. So that's kind of funny because I stayed with a guy for too long. It was not like a serious relationship. It wasn't even a relationship at all. It was just we were hanging out, you know.
Hanging out.
We were hanging out for like 3 months. I don't know
just
how you
hanging
can
out, of course.
Just hanging out because there's no labels. Okay, this is a whole different conversation of like exclusive hanging out, all that nonsense. Okay, but
I'm just saying it sounds like you might have possibly been more than friends if this is being brought up on the dating with dogs episode. That's all.
Okay, well, okay. Do you think dating is okay? So if you're dating, do you think you're in a relationship with them, or do you mean by dating as in seeing other people, seeing guys?
It depends on the guy we're talking about.
That's true. So,
I mean, there were some situations where I would have said that dating simply means non-committed, quote unquote, hanging out per you. And then there are some relationships where dating in my brain very much meant exclusive, and it very much did not mean that to the person that I was dating.
Yes.
Anyone who's dated musicians will commiserate with me on that.
Yes, so I'll use hanging out as in we're seeing each other, but we have no labels. We're not boyfriend, girlfriend. Okay. With that said,
Sorry, I'm done. I promise.
so I was hanging out with this guy for 3 months, maybe like once a week. So it's kind of a serious hangout, I would say. And he had this chocolate lab named Kira, and she got along so well with my dog. We would go hang out, and we would go to take them on walks, and they just got along really well, right? And there was no future with this guy, but I kept seeing him for like way longer than I should have, because I mean, I do these like casual dating, but my ultimate goal was always to find like a lifelong partner.
Yeah.
So usually when I find that there's no future with some guy, I would just end it pretty soon, or within 1 or 2 dates. I would be like, it's nice hanging out with you, but bye. But with this guy, I kept hanging out with him like for maybe half a dozen more times just to hang out with his dog. And she was so cool.
The question that I have to ask then is, what was like a key indication that there was no future?
Well, I mean, you don't hang out for 3 months and not make it official, right? So I knew.
Oh.
So I mean, I knew he didn't want a future with me, and I'm just like, well, it's just not working. Like, you just don't feel it.
Yeah.
You're just like, it's nice to hang out, but there's not much more there than hanging out, really. So
That was like the guy that took me hiking.
yeah, you're like, hey, we could be friends, but I mean, I'm not really gonna make too much of an effort.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely what happened. I think hindsight is definitely 2020. He might have been a better option than the person I spent almost 7 years with after that, but that's another podcast for another group of people. But how did you know that Nick was the one? Did dogs have anything to do with that? And I asked that knowing full well that dogs absolutely played a role.
Yeah, so I mean, should I tell like the whole backstory of how we met?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Always.
So maybe we should set the scene and then go from there. So I was living, of course, in LA, and I went with 2 of my friends to Seattle. We love to take photos, so we did like a photography trip, the 3 of us. And when I was in Seattle, we were all single at the time, me and 2 guys, and we were all on dating apps, just swiping and seeing, like, just like making fun of each other's matches and seeing like who can get a date on the trip. I mean, it was just like all fun and games. Like, we didn't really think that we would actually meet up with anybody, because our goal there was to like eat and explore and hang out. So I was on Bumble and I was swiping. I was like, oh, this guy looks pretty good. He had a lot of hiking pictures, and he had a lot of pictures with his dog. So I'm like, oh yeah, his dog's really cute, let's swipe right and see, right? So I did, and then a few hours later you get these notifications that like so and so also swipe right on you. And then I was like, oh, it's this guy that I wanted to hang out with. Because sometimes when you're swiping, I don't know if you've done online dating. Have you?
I haven't. I've never even downloaded an app. So this is so exciting to me to hear how this works. I'm so lame. Oh. I feel like we've already established this multiple times over. Educate me.
Okay. So on Bumble, it's like you both swipe, and then if you both swipe right on each other, then you're a match, right? And the girl has to message first. So with Tinder or other apps, either party could message, but with Bumble, the girl has to the message first. And I wrote some like super generic message like, hey, or something. But to my point before is like sometimes when you're swiping and you really like a profile, you're trying to like memorize like their picture, right? Because you're hoping that you get a notification with that guy's name that pops up saying he likes you too. So I was like, oh yeah, this guy, like, and a Nick with a K, swipe right. I'm like, yeah, I was kind of excited. So I wrote my opener, hey. And he messaged me back pretty fast. He's like, hey, I'm at work, but once I get off work, let's hang out. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm heading to the airport back to LA at like 8 p.m. So it'll be kind of before then, like 5. He's like, cool, I'll see you at 5. And then he never showed up. He never even messaged me.
Nick, excuse me. We need to have a conversation.
Okay, yeah. So I was like, I was telling my friends, I'm like, okay, we have to stay at the Starbucks Reserve because this guy is going to meet us there. And then hours go by and there's like no answer. My friends are like, this guy's not going to show up. I'm like, oh, fine. And then we had to catch Uber to the airport. So didn't actually get to meet him. And then we got married. So
I was just going to say, like, I feel like there's a lot that happened in between. And then we got married.
Yes.
So you'd say he put a ring on it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of rings, we're going to go into our product break. Woohoo. So the newest Zippy Tough squeaky rings are the most versatile toys. With a built-in squeaker and made of flexible yet durable TPR material, these rings are great for chewing, fetching, and tugging. And they come in 2 colors, teal and pink. I'm going to share a photo in our Instagram post so you can see what they look like.
They're super cute.
Yeah, they're cute and durable, and they squeak. They have a really unique squeaker built in, so your dog's going to have a blast.
So I think it's pretty safe to say, though, that even though it's not necessarily a dog-centric story, right? Kramer, well, who you eventually found out to be Kramer, was part of the reason that you were interested, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because when you're online dating, you can only post, I think, 6 or 7 photos. I mean, I don't know what dating apps are like now. I haven't been on it for years. But when I was using it, there wasn't too much that can showcase your personality. You can have like a small paragraph on talking about yourself. But usually you get the first impression from the photos. So usually what people put as their main photo, as their profile photo, is what is most important to them, right? So guys who have dogs usually put that as number 1. Sometimes guys who will post pictures of themselves with dogs that aren't even theirs.
Are you serious?
Yeah. You would be like, hey, cute dog, what's his name? And he's like, oh, that's my friend's dog. I'm like, why are you posting it on your profile?
Who does that? That's like the worst type of catfishing I've ever heard of.
Right? Exactly. I'm like, I wanted to talk to that dog. And you're like, that's my friend's dog.
Like, is your friend single?
Yeah. I'm like, can you give me your friend's number? But definitely, I think if I see a guy with a dog on a dating profile, that definitely piques my interest. So I'll be more likely to swipe right on them. And in real life, too.
Right?
Yeah.
Women love men with dogs. I'm gonna go off on a small tangent. I feel like sometimes when we go to the dog park that I am invisible. I could be right next to Nico, and I've seen this happen with you and Nick, so I know I'm not crazy and I know I'm not making it up. Women will just flock to men with dogs. Oh my gosh, your dog is so cute. What kind of dog is he? Oh my God, you're just the sweetest. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, he also doesn't clean up his laundry either. Go away.
I feel like we talk about this all the time, but I think we're just there as like the dog picker upper, and then all these girls are like, oh, your dog is so cute. What's his name? How old is he? I'm like, well, you could also ask me, but they never asked me.
Yeah, like we're just standing there. We had it happen at a restaurant. We were coming out of a restaurant that was dog friendly, and this woman, Bjorn, was walking in between us. Nico was ahead and Bjorn was in the middle, and I was a little bit behind with my mom, who was also at dinner. And this drunk girl bypasses my mom, almost knocks me over, and I'm just equating that to the fact that she was very clearly inebriated, and then runs up to Nico. Can I pet your dog? And is hair twirling, everything. Her friends are giggling. I can hear them like, ask for his number. Excuse me. Hi. How's it going? No.
It doesn't matter if we're standing right next to them. It doesn't even matter if I'm holding Kramer's leash. They will ask him about Kramer. I'm like, okay.
And Nick gets it from all ages too. I was at Super Zoo last year, and I started keeping a tally of how many women came up to talk to Nick. Birdie was there too. Birdie was there. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. He does have a very pretty face.
Yeah, he gets all the gay guys too. They like his one time. This is like not even about dogs. So tangent, the episode of Tangents. We were at a restaurant and he was talking with his friends, and then I was at the bar like waiting for a drink, and I was standing next to these this gay couple, and they were like whispering. They were like, Salt and Pepper just walked in, and I'm like, oh, because my husband has salt and pepper hair. I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
I can't handle it.
They're like, look at that salt and pepper. Oh gosh. Well, I mean, I guess I should be flattered to be invisible next to him.
Oh, 100%. I take it as a compliment.
Right.
But there are some times where I would just like to be, okay, yeah. Do you want to talk to the dog? Because he's down there and you haven't looked at him once. So I don't know what you want from me.
Most of the time I'm just eye rolling because I'm like, oh, honey, like you're just trying really, really hard. Too hard.
Like I said, though, at the end of the day, it's like, yes, his dog might be very cute, but his dog also barks at 1 a.m. And he might be very cute, but he is messy as all heck, and he's very needy. So, I mean, pick your battles. You can have him. Like, I'll give you my number, and I'll let you take him on the days that he's driving me crazy.
So true.
I'm just kidding. I love you.
Disclaimer. When I was Googling dating with dogs, I also found this app called Dig, which is a dog person's dating app. So I didn't know about this.
Where was this?
It must be new. So maybe we should download it for research.
I mean, it's purely for research, or maybe we should just partner with them.
Maybe you should partner with them. So if you work for Dig, send us a message.
Or if you've met somebody through Dig, I would love to hear that story too.
Definitely.
If it worked out for you, if you like it. Also in comparison to other dating apps too, right? I feel so out of the loop. I honestly have never had any experience with a dating app. Nico and I were fairly good friends when my marathon relationship ended. And it didn't take us very long to realize that we were probably more than friends. So I bypassed everything when I met Nico. Honestly, I had bypassed the awful rebound relationship. I had bypassed feeling sorry for myself. I did also bypass my lucky single girl phase, which RIP. But I didn't have any of that. I did learn early on that Nico loved dogs. He would send me dog memes on Instagram. I knew he loved dogs from being his friend, but we got Bjorn pretty early into our relationship. We got Bjorn before we moved in together. That was the catalyst for Nico really moving in, honestly.
We got slid Bjorn in with that. He's like, well, babe, we got a dog together, so I have to live with you now.
He did. And you know what? We didn't even have the conversation. He just stopped going home.
He's like, yeah, I stopped paying rent like 3 months ago. You didn't notice?
Well, he had a lease. He was locked into a lease that he had signed prior to us getting together that he couldn't break. And so, I mean, I was doing fine on my own. He kept his lease, but he was just never there. And he kind of used it as, oh, well, you seem really tired taking care of a puppy all the time. If I'm here, it's probably easier. Yeah, okay.
Nice.
And he never left.
Real smooth. I guess we should kind of fill in the gaps between him standing me up for a date and then us getting married.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we left off at him never texting me back, and I was in the Uber going back to the airport, back to my house, and trying not to be sad. I was like, oh yeah, it's totally fine. I was like in front of my friends. I'm like, oh, I didn't even care. You know, I totally didn't care at all.
Right.
But inside I'm like, oh, so sad. I wish he could message me back. And in the ride to the airport, I got a message from him. He's like, I'm so sorry. My phone died. And I was like rolling my eyes like crazy. Sure. But after knowing him for this long, I know his phone dies once a day, every day. So it's legit now. But at the time I was like, oh gosh, this guy, what does he want now? He says, you know, love to keep in touch with you. I'm so sorry that I couldn't see you, but love to keep in touch with you. Can I add you on Facebook? I was like, okay, sure, fine. And then he did add me on Facebook, and usually I don't add strangers on Facebook, but I don't know, I just had a feeling. I can't even describe it. I was just like, okay, I'll just add you on Facebook. And a few days later, he messaged me on Facebook saying, hey, I'm actually going to be in LA in 2 weeks. I have some business to take care of in LA. Could we go out for a drink? And I was like, sure. Yes, you're gonna message me in 2 weeks and we'll go out, right? Because in my mind, I'm like,
just like we were gonna get coffee.
Exactly. Just like we were gonna meet at Starbucks Reserve. Sure, let's go get a drink. And he's like, cool, awesome, great, I'll talk to you then. And he says, he gave me the date that he was gonna be. It was like a Friday. And he's like, I'll message you before then. And I gave him like a thumbs up, you know. I'm like, awesome, dude. And so that day came, and I was like, oh, there's no way this guy is gonna like message me. We haven't talked in 2 weeks. What are the chances of him remembering that he was gonna message me? So I got off work that day, and I was like, oh, he didn't text me or anything. Whatever. He's like just like any other guy, right? And then it was a few hours later, maybe like 8 p.m., where he's like, hey, I'm in LA. Like, are you free tonight? Let's meet up. I'll meet you here. And I was like, is this guy serious right now? So I went and met him at a bar, Clifton's in downtown LA. If you guys know that, it's like a 3-story bar with a tiki bar at the top. Really awesome place. And yeah, so we met up, and he was cute. So I was like, yes. And we started talking, and we had like a 3-4 hour date, and for a lot of it we talked about Kramer. So if you guys remember episode, was it 3 or 4, when we talked about Kramer going missing, we talked
the Lost Boys.
Yeah, we talked about that a lot. So it was really heavy material for our first date. But yeah, it just went from there. So fast forward, got married.
And got another dog.
We did, yeah. And I don't know if I said this on the show, but my dog JJ at the time passed away about 3 weeks after my first date with Nick. So they didn't actually get a chance to meet.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was tough. But I think meeting Nick and Kramer really helped me to cope with the loss.
Oh, I say that 100%.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Definitely. And it was just hard, right? Because in the beginning, it was like very difficult for me to not cry when I thought about him. And that was like very often. And Kramer especially, he's a therapy dog, and he just knows how to kind of he understands your emotions, right? So Kramer definitely helped me with coping.
Kramer's a good guy.
Oh, yeah, he's a good wingman.
Oh, I can imagine. Well, no, I can't imagine. I can't actually literally imagine. I've seen it happen.
Like Kramer
He was just a wingman for a married person.
he could come up to me and he would like put his hand on my knee and I'm like, oh.
It's amazing how they know.
It is true. So and then fast forward, Nick was living in Seattle at the time and I was living in LA, and we would fly back and forth to visit each other. And about 5 months or 4 months into doing this, one time he just flew Kramer down to LA to stay in my apartment, because if I was to fly to Seattle, then my parents can take care of Kramer. But if he was to fly down to visit me, then he would have to get some of his friends or coworkers or to watch Kramer or put him in boarding, and that was just more of a hassle. So he was just like, I'm just gonna leave him with you, and then when I'm here, we'll all stay in your condo. But it's just easier on Kramer. So
see, it's that same Nico maneuver. Like, well, the dog is here, so I'm just gonna slide on in.
yeah, you know what? Maybe I told him. I think what happened was I told him, hey, like, I know this is a lot, but if you wanted to leave him with me, I'm happy to take care of him. So he can focus on work when he's up there and all that stuff. So
so you're the smooth one.
So yeah, I think it was me. And then he thought about it and he's like, yeah, I'm okay with that, which was surprising because of how Kramer got lost and stolen, and he just trusted a stranger of 4 months to take his dog. So
I feel like that's how you know that you are already his forever at that point.
Yeah,
because he wouldn't leave Kramer with anybody. I would imagine.
I feel like his friends were probably like, dude, what are you thinking? What are you thinking right now?
He knew.
Yeah. So,
but it kind of, I guess it probably worked out too, because you didn't have JJ anymore, so you didn't have to worry about acclimating Kramer to another pet in the house.
Yes. So I pretty much just went from one dog to one dog. But you, on the other hand, had a cat, and Nico had a cat.
I did. And combining any fur families together, they always say is tricky. I think I wish I could offer insight into bringing two established pets into a family, but I don't, or two dogs, but I do have, I definitely have cat experience. And apparently cats are supposed to be trickier to acclimate to one another. There is a very strictly recommended way of doing it. We had reached out to our vet because we wanted to make sure Nico was as in love with his cat as I was with mine, and we were cat parents, and we wanted to make sure that we weren't going to do anything that was damaging or that was harmful. And it was a little scary because going into it, it was very much, if Aria doesn't like your cat, I'm really sorry, but this is probably not going to work, right? And I would venture to say he probably felt the same way with Poe. So we reached out to our vet, and there's a whole way of doing it where you put, so in this case, Poe was the one that was coming into my home. We put Poe into the bathroom. We had a separate litter box. We had food, and you keep the door shut, and that's it. You feed them on opposite ends of the door so they get a scent of one another, and they obviously know the other one is in the house. Mm-hmm. And from there's all these just steps of, then you open the door, but you have a screen up. And then from the screen, it goes down to like just a gate. Well, my cat is rotten. She is 6 pounds of just mischief. And she actually got out. She found a way around it. And we got very, very, very lucky because they loved each other instantly. She got around the gate situation after the first day. And I think they hissed at each other twice, maybe 3 times. And by the end of that day, they were grooming each other, which any cat parents out there listening will know that that is crazy. And they've been honestly inseparable ever since. Their relationship kind of mimicked mine and Nico's, except we refer to them as brother and sister, not lovers. But it was like it opens up a whole different can of worms when each side has an animal that they're bringing in, because they are living beings. They are emotional. They get stressed out, and just like people, you can't guarantee that animals are going to get along. It happens when you're adopting another animal, and just like there are people that I just don't get along with, and it's nothing personal, but I don't want to live with them.
Right. That's so true.
And I can't imagine what would have happened if they hadn't gotten along, though.
Right? Like, I can't imagine, because there's no way I'm giving up my dog. But then also, it's like, if you met your
soulmate,
yeah, then you don't want to give them up too. So what do you do? I think if that happened to me, I might just have my dog or his dog live at my parents' house for a little bit.
That would work. And I mean, our vet told us too that sometimes most of the time it takes cats and some dogs months to be okay with each other, not even like each other, just okay with each other. And then it's very frequent that they never like each other, but they'll tolerate each other. So they'll be at separate ends of the house, right. Which wasn't the case for Poe and Aria. We don't even put them in separate crates when we travel anymore. They have to be together or they will just cry.
Oh, that's so cute.
They're pretty sweet. They're like a little Oreo cookie.
Oh. And then there's Bjorn.
And then Bjorn is like a combination of both of them, though. It's really funny because Aria is a champagne colored cat and Poe is all black. And then Bjorn he's got the shepherd golden mix. He's getting very golden.
Yeah, I saw a picture of him recently.
He got trimmed down and all the dark hairs got trimmed. So he's like a long-haired brindled golden retriever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have any experience of mixing households, so that was easy on us.
When Nick was back in town, how did you guys split up Kramer duties?
I mean, I think because Kramer is his dog or was his dog, he definitely did the bulk of the pet parenting and chores. And he still does, I think, mostly. Well, back when we were, working at the office, he had both dogs at home. So he would be in charge of like feeding them twice a day. And we would walk them together at night, but he would walk them in the mornings. So dogs are mostly his chore, and he's okay with that. And I was okay with that, of course, too. But I can see where we would have gotten into arguments where I'm like, well, you have to do this. And he's like, no, you have to do this.
Yeah, we established early on when we got Bjorn, because the cats are easy. They eat. We had a slow feeder for them that would just give out food periodically, and they have a litter box, so we'd go back and forth with who cleaned the litter box. But when we got Bjorn, it was established very early on that Nico is the one that wanted a puppy, and with wanting and having a puppy comes certain responsibilities. And he was also the one that woke up first. So that kind of worked in my favor, and it's stuck ever since. Even now through quarantine, he wakes up and he takes Bjorn on his walk. I'll go sometimes, not all the time. I do like my sleep. But yeah, he walks him in the morning. I feed him. I'm trying to think. I will pick up after him, but Nico very rarely lets me if we're out together. So it's pretty balanced. We never had a conversation, though. I don't know if we ever split it up.
Yeah, I think the only time we had a conversation about chores was when we just got Birdie, and we decided that I was going to take the early morning shift and he was going to do the night shift. This way, when, we're both sleeping and it's 2 a.m., he's not pretending to be asleep so I could do it. I'm like, well, this is your time, or this is my time, So that was the only reason why we split that up, so we wouldn't fight with each other on like 2 hours of sleep.
Yeah, we had somewhat of shifts, but we just kind of went with it. It was a go with the flow type situation. And it's funny because for being two Virgos, we were pretty unorganized in our initial undertaking of tasks.
What about, well, we don't want to think about this. What about breaking up? Because I feel like I've had friends break up and there is kind of like a fight about who gets the dog.
Again, Stella had obviously passed by the time I had broken up with my ex. So I don't have dog stories for this, but I did have Aria at the time, and it was a pretty clean break. I don't think he disliked her. I'm sure he missed her at some point, but she was very, very much my cat. And he didn't really get the option. I know a lot of people have custody, quote unquote, disputes or arrangements. They have visitation rights. That was very clearly not going to happen immediately. She was my cat, and had he made any attempt to stay in touch with it, just wouldn't happen. He was not about to get my cat, and I respect people that can have that relationship with their ex, but I don't know how. I honestly can't wrap my brain around it. I'm one of those people where even if it's not necessarily an ugly breakup, I need that clean split.
Yeah.
So again, like, kudos to the people who have children and do it. Obviously it's very doable, and I'm a much more mature adult at this point, maybe than some of my earlier relationships that ended, but
yeah, I'm sure if you have kids, it's different. But I mean, me too, where I don't talk to any of my exes at all. Like, we don't even have each other on social media or anything like that. And I just feel like it's better. It's just easier to move on.
well, also, like, who wants to see their dog with another girl?
Yeah. And also, like, I don't even care about them anymore. So I don't care what they're doing in their life. So I'm like, bye forever.
Right?
Yeah. So I didn't really have any experience with breaking up with a dog, because JJ was, of course, mine, and none of my exes really cared to say, like, oh, and they wouldn't dare.
Right. It would have been interesting to see what would have happened had Stella been around. I think she was very clearly mine, but obviously I was with him for, I'd say, 75% of her life.
Did you guys get together? Did you guys get Stella when you were together?
No.
Okay.
Stella and I were a package deal.
Okay.
So that I met my ex.
So if you came with a dog, I feel like you should be able to leave the relationship with a dog. Like, the person who brought the dog into the relationship has, like, first dibs of taking the dog with them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, unless, like, I don't know. I'm trying to play devil's advocate and think of a situation where it might not be. Maybe if the dog bonded with the other person and you didn't want to take that relationship away from the dog and you ended things amicably, maybe.
Well, if
but they're all better people than I am.
If someone brought in a dog into a relationship but the other person took care of them more, well,
That's, yeah.
Anyway, those are just made up scenarios that it's not going to happen to us. So.
Oh yeah, I don't want to think about that.
Right? Yeah.
Nico could have Bjorn.
I'm just like, yeah, Nick can have the dogs, and I'll be single with no dogs. That's crazy.
Nico can take Poe and Bjorn, and Arya will go and live our best single girl life.
Girl life. Oh yeah, maybe I'll take Birdie. But I love Kramer. I'm gonna take Kramer too. I'm like,
so
bye.
Nick leaves with nothing.
He leaves with nothing. I get the dogs. Oh gosh.
So if you guys have any funny, hilarious dating stories with dogs, or sweet stories, I guess bitter stories too, any stories, any of your dating experiences with dogs, we definitely want to hear. So feel free to sound off, DM us, email us, comment, anything. We read all of your messages. We love them. We try to respond to as many as possible. through our podcast, and we'll always respond to any messages or DMs. So we're interested. We're curious. We're very nosy.
Yeah,
I feel
we are
like,
nosy.
right?
Yeah. Send us more stuff.
That's why this works out so well. Or if you guys have any proposal stories with dogs, that is something that I definitely want to
is
see.
that a hint?
No, I don't think Nico's going to use Bjorn to propose.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't think he's going to look at Dog Mom podcast stuff for inspiration, but you never know. I just think it's super cute when you always see the dogs with the little engagement rings.
Yeah, that is cute.
Bjorn would eat it. It would never work with Bjorn. I love him, but he's an idiot.
Maybe you just have to tie it to his neck or something.
He'd still find a way to eat it or lose it or do something. So if you want to boop that follow button, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Dog Mom Podcast and our website at www.zippypaws.com/Dog Mom Podcast.
Okay, bye.
Bye.